Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eternal Midnight. I'm here today with Chad. Hey, Chad, how is it going?
What's going on, man?
And I'm here today with Kevin as well. How are you, man?
Pretty good.
That's amazing. All right, so we are continuing.
Smart ass.
Ah, man, it's early. All right, we are continuing our Harry Potter retrospective. Last week we did movies one, two, three, which are Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and Prisoner of Azkaban. And this week we're doing Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, and Half Blood Prince. So we're all excited to talk about this. We have varying opinions. So I guess what we should do is we should start with the first one, which is Goblet of Fire. So Kevin, you go first. What are your opinions on that movie?
Um, I will say I do like Goblet of Fire, although I will say I do think it is probably a little overrated in my view a bit because I don't know, I see it sometimes too high on people's lists, but hey, that's their opinion. But for me, I think Goblet of Fire is still a pretty good Harry Potter film because it's now a turning point in the series, and I think it's a turning point actually done pretty well in most areas. The opening, I love the opening. Like the opening was able to represent how things, because they're not playing the Hedwig theme that they played for the other three openings. This time it's something different. I'm pretty sure the track's called "The Story Continues." Basically, now we're gonna continue on the Voldemort thing a little more now this time, instead of just doing school stuff. So that's pretty cool. And like the theme, like I kind of noticed the theme was kind of on fame, because like Harry's famous for defeating Voldemort, and because of that, he is his prime target, and that is why he got into the tournament, and that is why Voldemort needed him to come back to life. We also see how, because he was in the tournament, we see how people are jealous of him. They're spreading lies about him. There's distrust towards him. There's anger towards him, confusion. There's just a lot of interesting stuff, regarding fame in this film. So I thought that was interesting. And
Okay.
one more thing I'd like to add, like I think the score is pretty weak in this film, like at
Mm,
least in the series. Like it's not bad. I do think it is pretty good. Like there are some good scores. Like the three task scores, they're like pretty cool. But I will say it is a little weaker than like some other entries.
okay. Well, Chad, you're on the opposite end. You think to you
I'm on
Goblet?
the exact opposite because this is honestly my favorite of all eight of them, or of all the eight initial Harry Potter movies. Um, Watching the tasks is to me obviously like the highlight. I think I honestly had more fun watching these tasks than I did any of the Quidditch games. I mean, come on, the dragon fight still holds up in my book,
It still holds
and
up. Like it's really good.
hmm
Uh,
And everything that happens under the lake, I thought was really cool. They did a really good job. The hedge maze, I think I liked what they did in the book better. I like how there was a lot more monsters in the book, a lot
okay,
more
then.
challenges. I think that Harry had to overcome. So I think the hedge maze was probably the weakest of the three tasks. But to me, what really makes this movie really is it really is the ending. I mean, this is really to me when the franchise turned from a bunch of kids having fun in quotes, learning magic at a school, where after Voldemort comes back, they're leaving the school and they're entering an uncertain world where, and especially Harry, after witnessing Cedric get killed, he's no longer a boy leaving that maze. He's now basically a man. He just witnessed a murder of another kid by his arch nemesis who murdered his parents and has now been reborn. So they're going into a world that's a much darker, scarier, uncertain place. So I like this because while in movie wise, it's the middle of the franchise. Book wise, it was about, it was the very middle one. I just like it because it really is that transition from a couple of little adventures to the changing of their entire world and livelihood. And yeah, there was some weak parts throughout it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't think they really handled the Ron getting angry at Harry as strong as they could have. Um,
Agree.
I think they could have done a little more with it, because even in the scenes where, like in the book at least, when Ron needed to pass a message along, he had Hermione tell him. In the movie, he stood right by her side and was whispering in her ear exactly what to tell him. It's like, okay, there's a difference between not wanting to be friends with somebody and saying, hey, go tell so and so I know something, and him literally standing 2 feet away and being as petty as he was. I thought that was kind of pathetic.
I think, yeah, the pettiness was like it. That never happened. That was so. That's one of the
The
changes.
book, yeah, the book handled the jealousy a lot better, I think, than the movie did.
Yeah, because the movie and that's a thing where I'll get to later in Half the Prince, where it's kind of a double standard. But the book,
I think it was like, going back to like what you said, it was just them showing their it was almost them just showing how much they did not really seem to enjoy writing for Ron for some weird reason. And I think, Kevin, you're the one who said it last week, where Ron was just basically pushed to the background for 4, 5, and 6.
yeah, because it was him who said it. Because the thing with Goblet of Fire is, okay, I'm gonna be middle ground here. I do like some of the stuff they did. I really do. Like I said, the tasks are insane. That dragon holds up more than 90% of MCU CGI. Really.
I mean, it is a little weak in some areas. Like the effects do look a little weird, but I still think they hold up really well.
I mean, the set design is insane. Like that Yule Ball set, that's kick-ass. I really thought so. I really like the underground, the underwater Atlantis design. That was
that was beautiful.
That was them prepping, getting ready for Aquaman.
my main gripe, honestly, is, to be fair, the trio in this entire movie doesn't feel like a trio. It feels like they're always fighting. I mean, like, yeah, that's a staple of the Harry Potter books, really. Like, in every HP book, the trio will fight. Harry, Ron, and Hermione they will get into some fight. The problem with this movie is it just shows them fighting. There's no time for them to actually bond as friends. I mean, like, think about it. When in the entire time they're at Hogwarts do they actually talk and bond like they did in the other 7 movies?
I mean, like,
they didn't in this one, I don't think.
They didn't do it in this one. Yeah, I mean, like, you have like one scene where they're talking about how they're gonna get to the Yule Ball for dates, but that's really just it. I mean, like, that's the main problem, because
the ending as well.
Yeah, the ending. Yeah, the last shot of the movie. Yeah, that's so like 2 scenes in the entire 2-hour 40-minute movie. They have 2 scenes together where they actually bond, but through the entire time they're fighting, and that's not really who the trio.
I mean, that's a staple of all the Harry Potter movies, and even the books. There's at least one point in every single one where all 3 of them are not friends with each other.
Yeah, but
I would also like to say that like, I'm pretty sure, since like this film is where they start to, it is like a turning point to them. Like, they are starting to reach their, like, teens now at this point. So it would make sense that, they would start bickering a bit more,
Yeah,
because they are starting to grow up, like, things will change, as I would say.
Yeah, that would make sense. But the problem is that even when they were growing adolescent and they're fighting, they would still, even the books, have time to be together as friends. Like, they would always make up. But the problem in this movie that I have really is,
well, it was like, think about it. In the first one, they hated Hermione in the beginning until Halloween. In the second one, it wasn't the same because they didn't really fight, but when Hermione got petrified, she was lost for about a quarter of the school year.
Yeah.
So that one doesn't really count, but anyway, it still does because they weren't the trio. In the third one, it was Hermione versus Ron with Scabbers. In
Right.
this one, it was Ron not liking Harry. In the next one, it's Harry. I just remember. Well, we'll get to the next one, but I
I think it
remember
was
the
like
next one
Harry
when
being
Harry
angry.
blows his stack multiple times.
Yeah, Harry just gets mad. He's an angsty.
And then in the sixth one, it's
Hermione.
Hermione versus Ron again with the lavender brown stuff. And then in the seventh one, it's when Ron ditches him because of the Horcrux. So it's like these guys are almost always at fault. Every book has it. But I get what you're saying about the three of them not properly having the scenes together in this one. I can't disagree on that.
Yeah, because
I mean, like I would say maybe like they do start to make up a little bit like after the second task because like before that we had like Ron's jealousy and the bickering between Ron and Hermione after the Yule Ball. But I see what you're coming
from.
Yeah, because they don't have any scenes together. Like my main gripe really is for the fact that to this entire movie, a lot was cut out. Like they really used like half of the book. Like the SPEW, which Hermione creates. It's not in its entirety at all. Like
Winky's not in the book. Winky's not in the movie at all.
Winky is like a major player in this book, and she is set up for the twist at the very end, and that doesn't happen. Like that's why Kevin, I saw your review. Like the twist you felt was really out of place, and I have to agree because
they didn't build up to it.
I didn't think it was because of Winky though. Like I was fine with them cutting out Winky. Like I did think Winky's story was interesting in the books, but in the films, it kind of makes sense that they would cut it out. At least for me.
Like they included Dobby. If they included him, why couldn't they include her?
It included Dobby. Why couldn't
the movie is pretty long actually, and I do feel like they were missing some stuff though.
That's why I always profess like the HP movies are always a good first.
That's why I'm saying 4 probably should have been 2 movies.
Exactly. Yeah, but and that wouldn't make any sense because no one did it at that point, and it was Harry Potter.
They did, but it's like they cut out so much that I really wanted to see. I mean, like I really wanted to see the World Cup. I thought that would have been really cool, but I mean,
I don't understand what were they thinking? Like they were building up to it, and I was thinking the build-up's pretty cool, but then
boom, the game's over.
Like, it was the ultimate.
The World Cup should have been in there because like Victor Crumb is one of the champions, so it would have been cool and nice to see like his moves as like a player and being see what he can do. That way, when we get to the tournament, we can we could see him as kind of like a big challenge for like Harry in the tournament.
Yeah, problem is they didn't show him that, which is weird because the book describes the entire like match.
I mean, they could have just done like maybe a few scenes, like maybe when they're playing around, it's getting intense, and then like it ends. Like it could have been like a decent 5-10 minutes.
They easily could have kept more of those scenes in. The movie was only about the movie was 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, but like.
But it's like, come on, just go all the way and make it 3. Come on. I wanted to see the leprechauns fight the Vila anyways.
My main gripe really is like there's this entire chapter called Padfoot Returns where Sirius comes back to Hogwarts, and that's the moment where the trio like band together and discuss with Sirius what's going on, and they all have their own opinions. Like Hermione has her own, Ron has his own opinions, Harry's trying to figure it all out, Sirius is giving information about what was like back then. It was such a good scene between the 4 of them.
Yeah, it's funny. Why couldn't they have included that and done away with the when Harry and him were talking in the fire? I mean, they easily could have changed that up because they changed up how he got the gillyweed in the book. I mean, they just completely changed it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like in the book, it's Dobby who gives the gillyweed to Harry, not Neville at all. Which is weird. Why can't you
Moody did say that he was trying to get Neville to give the gillyweed to Harry, so I thought that was
I liked how they did it in the book better, where when he was getting berated by Mad Eye at the end, he was like, I gave you the answer right there. He's like, all you had to do was drop your pride and go ask somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. And one of my main gripes is the fact that Sirius is actually a major part. Like when Harry is in trouble, he actually goes back, and that shows that he is a godfather. It gives emotional brevity and depth. That when he dies in book 5, you actually feel so bad. But Sirius was not even present. I mean, like supposedly, I'm not sure if this is confirmed. Supposedly, Gary Oldman was filming for Batman Begins as Gordon, which was why he wasn't in this one. But like you could have had him for at least like
Hmm. I
one.
don't know because Batman Begins came out in 2008, didn't it?
No, that
No,
was
it came out in
Dark.
2005.
Yeah,
2008, The Dark Knight.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah, and Dark and
Yeah,
Batman.
maybe. Yeah, because this came out in 2005,
They're
so
both Warner Brother films. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so supposedly Gary Oldman was filming for Gordon, which is why he couldn't come in for
Hmm.
Fire. But like you could have at least one scene with him where he goes back and he talks to Harry and be like, okay, we're the trio and we're with Sirius. Sirius is giving the information of what is it in the past, what was it like during the Wizarding World during his time, so that it gives the world building. But now they don't do that. I mean, like that's really like that sucks honestly that they didn't.
yeah, I will say, like, it does actually, like, yeah, while he is mostly absent in the Goblet of Fire, it does actually make his return like a little more like like powerful in Order of the Phoenix when Harry does see him again, because like he hasn't really seen him in person
Yeah,
like
yeah, but yeah,
basically a year
but
or more than that.
the Phoenix, we get like few moments with him, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, so also another gripe is really honestly in Goblet of Fire where they vilify Ron to an utmost extreme, like really do. Like the dialogue between between Ron and Hermione after the Yule Ball is so changed to the point where like Ron's like this bad guy because he's
Yeah,
spoiled.
but he was like that in the book too. He was a complete
Yeah,
prick
he got
after the Yule
Yeah,
Ball in
like
the
to be
book,
fair,
I
like
remember.
as much as I love the character,
I didn't really see that much of a difference, if I'm honest. Like, at least in Goblet of Fire.
I mean, he made her cry in both the book and the movie, so
yeah. So yeah, it just
by
but like
being a complete dick, geez, like leave this girl alone. She'd given you every hint that you should ask her. You never did. You've got no right to get pissed off at her.
yeah, but then that's the problem. Like in Half Blood Prince, we'll get to that because the narrative. Anyway, we're gonna get to that in Half Blood Prince.
Oh my
I,
god.
I'm gonna go down hard for that movie, but okay, positives about Goblet of Fire because I feel like I've been talking about negatives. I agree with Chad. Like the ending is one of the best endings I've ever seen of this movie. Like when Voldemort comes back and Ray Fiennes just commands the screen with his
Oh,
breath.
easily.
Like,
The look of Voldemort is not as it's not as threatening and as imposing as the image I had in my mind from when I was reading the books. But Ray Fiennes, they couldn't have picked somebody better, I don't
Dude,
think.
Ray Fiennes
like,
like he kills
like that scene was just, I remember seeing it for the first time and I just like basically dropped dead. I was like, oh my goodness, this guy is a freaking like scariest person ever. Like,
It looks so fun, like having this new body. Like he's making Harry Potter bow with his wand, and he's like, "Come on, bow, bow." Dumbledore wouldn't want you to forget your manners, would you? Like, man, he's just like so. He's just so happy to be alive with a body, you know. It's like, and he's
one of
like,
my favorite lines is when he's just like, I can touch you now.
yeah, he's just so happy to have hands, dude. He's just happy to have a body, and like when he says like all the I love that line where he says all the after tonight all those speak about Harry Potter is how he begged for death, and I as a merciful Lord obliged. Like damn, dude, like
Hmm.
he's just so commanding, like and like that's what makes Voldemort so good. Like he's just so he loves being evil and loves being like this Puritan who wants to bring purity to the world and like kill everyone who doesn't
See,
agree.
to me, that's the difference between the Voldemort of the movies and the Voldemort of the books. In the movies, like you just said, he loves being evil. In the books, he just is evil. I don't even think he relishes in being evil in the books. At least that's never the vibe I got from him. Like in
Yeah,
the movies, I feel like he's like, I'm evil and I love it. But in the books, he was just like, I am the epitome of evil. I don't relish this at all. This is who I am and who I want to be.
yeah, I agree with you, Chad. Like the book's interpretation of Voldemort will be better. It is better because like Voldemort in the books is more like he's more silent. He's more like he just wants to get his plan done, and he doesn't do that weird scream that for some reason he did in the movies.
Hmm.
Like yeah, like that's
I mean, but like, okay, here's what I'll say. Like, that's part of the thing that's terrifying, at least for me, because like, he loves being evil because like he's just okay. Sorry, I messed that up for a second. But the fact that he loves being evil, he's basically fine with like killing basically anyone. He wouldn't care like, if they got in his way, he's just like, I'll just kill you. I don't care. That's
Yeah.
that's what makes him scary for me. Like he does not care. Like as long as he lives, he is fine.
Yeah.
Like he's willing to do anything basically. Go to any extreme.
Yeah. True.
hmm
But then, I like the fact that Voldemort was just like this imposing presence, and like he just wanted to just like really really just kill Harry Potter. Like he wanted Harry Potter to suffer first and then kill him. Like he just like he's just insane. Like he's so passionate about being evil. It's just like
Yeah.
the best part about him. And I love, dude, Diana Radcliffe's acting really peaks in the movie
Yeah.
when he comes back and he's just like
Mhm.
sobbing. And I love that scene where like it's Fleur who realizes first that Cedric's not moving, like he's dead, and he just starts screaming, and like, everyone's just
And
I
it's such
think
a
the
powerful
saddest
scene
part-
too, because it's like she runs forward and screams while the band is still playing that like extremely upbeat and jaunty music.
yeah,
like
It was like
the saddest
perfect.
the saddest part for me was when like Cedric's father came in and he was mourning his death.
Oh,
Like the score and his performance, they were just too much for me.
yeah. See that's the part where like the score works, like it really works well.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my goodness. Like this guy, like you really had the impression like he had a future. It was
Yeah,
just heartbreaking.
yeah, yeah, and that's why like I can never really, to be honest, like a lot of people don't like Goblet of Fire. They say it's the worst one. Like I really can't agree on that. Like, I really
I
think
can agree with people not saying it's the best, but I'll fight anyone who says it's the worst.
I
I
don't.
wouldn't say it's the worst.
It's not the
Or I
worst.
wouldn't say
Like
worst.
I think I don't hate it at all. It's like that's why like each Harry Potter movie, they're not bad. There are some more well made in my opinion than others.
Yeah.
But but Goblet of
Can I
Fire is like it has its good, it has its bad, but eventually the way I look at it after my rewatch, in my opinion, just to close my part of it all, it has more good than bad. I do like the set design, I do like the action, I do like the way the effects were created. I like Harry's change from boy to man, the ending, from the maze to the last shot of the movie where Durmstrang and Boban's leave. So that wraps up Goblet of Fire. Unless you guys have anything else to say.
Still my favorite one.
All right, yeah, that's everyone's
Yep.
opinion, like everyone's different. Like Goblet of Fire to me is very middle ground. Like I don't hate it as much as some people do. I don't like it as much as other people do. Like it's very middle ground. So yeah, uh, so we're closing on Goblet of Fire and we're moving on to a very, in my opinion, underrated Harry Potter film to this day.
second it.
Yeah, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. It is underrated. So Kevin, you go first. What do you think of it?
I I love this film. Like, it may not be my top like Harry Potter film, but it is so close there. Like, it is probably the most charming film in the series, probably because like we focus a lot more on the characters in my eyes. Like, we focus on like the trio. We focus on Sirius. We focus on like Dumbledore, Voldemort, and like some of the other characters. Like we get a lot of new characters, and I gotta say, like they really were memorable. Like they were very memorable in this film.
Even
Like,
even the bad ones, which we'll get to that.
but yeah, like we have like Bellatrix and I forgot some of the others, but like we also have like some new characters like Luna.
Oh
and-
yeah.
Oh, I realized the one bad character I didn't mention, and that is Umbridge. But
Oh my gosh, we'll get all into
we'll
that.
get to her soon. But like the film was just very charming for me. I also like it how like the films, like if you notice the colors, it can get very grim and dark, but you can also see the bright colors
Yeah,
as
there's
well.
light. There's light in the darkness. I swear.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
building
so
on that
good.
light and darkness.
I mean, like
Like,
Order of the Phoenix to me is like one of the most realistic portrayals of like our world. I mean, like the government literally denies that Voldemort is back, which, given our current situation today, kinda relates to it, but not that much anyway. But yeah, just a segue there. Like it kind of relates to what's going on right now. I mean, like how China covered up the virus for like a whole two months before they actually told them it was bad or denied it ever existed. So yeah, don't you?
I would also like to mention that the score is just phenomenal. It is
Yeah,
like one of the best scores in the series.
yeah.
Like, it's amazing.
I think
And also, like, David Yates is actually a pretty good director in this film. And,
I think
after seeing that, I was like thinking, this guy is like perfect already,
yeah.
for
This is
series.
this is like David Bates' second best film for the franchise. I really think so. Like he directs this one five onwards, so this is his second one. This is his second best. The first one being DH Part Two, but we're gonna get to that. But David, man, like there's so many memorable stuff there. Like Luna Lovegood, Ivana Lynch is Luna Lovegood. That's just perfect casting. I swear.
Yes.
hmm
What do you think, Chad? I mean, like you haven't said anything on Order of the Phoenix yet. I mean, like you've been quiet.
I'm just letting you two go. Um,
Yeah.
it's good. It's just middle ground for me.
I see.
Um, the story, I mean, it's good. I just don't. I don't know. I don't really. This is one, like, whenever I choose to do a marathon, this is one I just kind of go through and it's on. I mean, I don't really. I still like it better, I think, than 1 and 2. And yeah, I think I have it at like spot 5 or something.
Mm.
But I don't know. It's not as dark and dreary as 6 and Deathly Hallows Part 2, but it also doesn't really have any fun in it the same way 1 and 2 did.
Okay. So it's
So it's kind of just that, like, extreme middle ground for me where I don't really know how I completely feel about it.
it's
And
just there for you. Like it just exists.
yeah, it's just there. I mean, it does have its good moments. Like, yeah, I do. Luna's great. Um, but then other characters like when she was introduced, she just
Oh,
didn't
Oh
she just
yeah.
didn't she just didn't really do much.
Yeah, Tom's is like a main like one of the main characters
They
supposedly.
just yeah,
Icon.
they just it seems like they skipped over a lot of the actual Order of the Phoenix for this movie.
Oh yeah, I that's yeah, that's my main complaint. Like again, you left out a lot of stuff. Like suppose like as much as I like the movie, they cut out a lot of time with Sirius. That's why when his death comes, again, it doesn't feel as emotional as it did
That's
in the book.
that's probably my
Like
biggest thing with this movie is in the books when Sirius was killed, it meant a lot more to me than here because I'm like they haven't seen each other that much. They barely know each other, it felt
yeah, they
like.
barely talk. I mean like
uh,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
I would disagree there. I felt like there was a lot more like serious stuff, like at least for me, like when Sirius went to see Harry off before he went to Hogwarts, or when they reunited, and that lightness and darkness like scene like
Yeah,
during
good
the
scene.
holidays.
That was a good scene, but the problem is like Sirius. This is the moment where you should care about what happens. But when Sirius Black dies, it doesn't really you don't really feel for him. I mean, like yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sad because I knew him from the book, but I didn't really know him from the movie. I mean, like yeah, you had that awesome iconic. We've got both light and dark inside of us, and then you have him at the beginning when Harry goes to number 5 Grimmauld Place, but you don't really see him in the you don't see him in the like he's not there. I mean, like his presence isn't really felt throughout, which sucks
hmm
because
I,
this is where he shines the most in the book, but it doesn't happen.
I felt like no, I thought he was able to like I thought he was able to show being sort of like a father figure to Harry because he is his godfather. I thought he was able to
Yeah, yeah. There
for
there
Harry.
some scenes about that. I mean, like I just mentioned the Light and Darkness. I just wish there was more. You know.
And I
understand.
think, and I
I think
hate doing the comparisons like the book did this so much better, so I'm going to hold it against the movie. But it's like sometimes there's certain speeches in one medium that you don't get to see in another one, and you wish you did. Like to me, that I think it was the second to last chapter where after everything happened and Dumbledore finally sat down and him and Harry talked about how all of year 5 went, the way they did it in the book was so much better that it just almost took away from when they did it in the movie because it just was nowhere near as good as
It
I
was nowhere
thought.
as like in the book, Harry smashes things and he's so
That
angry.
was that was easily one of the most like emotional chapters I think out of all the books.
And
And
rightfully so.
I didn't feel almost any of it in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Because like in that what I
I
really
mean,
like in Order of the Phoenix is Harry's story. I mean, like he's literally coping from PTSD because
And
he's
he was on his own basically all of year 5. He was basically Dumbledore made it, so he was isolated basically from everybody.
yeah, except for Ron and Hermione. I mean, like,
yeah,
No,
but he
even then
isolated
he still
himself
kind of
there.
was because they were head boy and or they were prefects.
yeah, that's true.
But
But
in the
that's,
film, like he was like kind of like isolating himself, because like he was almost thinking like they wouldn't understand how he's going through.
I mean, like yeah, but that's the thing. Even
Well, in the book, it was more orchestrated by Dumbledore due to
yeah,
the fear of Voldemort being able to see through Harry's eyes, which was there, but they didn't seem like they dwelled on it, and that didn't seem like that was much of a selling point as to the reason why.
yeah, I agree there with you, Chad. But the thing is, I do like that in the Order of the Phoenix movie, Harry, Hermione, and Ron have the best dynamic here, in my opinion, in this movie and in DH Part 2. Like, they really.
Better than 3?
And 3. So, sorry. 3, 5, and Part 2. Those
No, I
are.
was saying you thought 5 was better than 3 when it came to the three of them.
When it came to the 3 of them, no. And when it comes
Oh,
to
okay.
them, they have a better dynamic in 3. But when it comes to, like.
Okay.
When it comes to, like, as a movie, 5 is better than Part 3. But I'm saying, like, 5 is, like, so good when it comes to, like, Ron and Hermione are really helping him out in Part 5. I really think that they really are like supporting him. They don't have any arguments there. They're not fighting each other. They're really helping Harry out in their own ways. Like Ron's defending him in front of Seamus. That scene where Seamus just gets mad and then Ron comes in to help him out, and that where
Yeah.
Hermione basically helps Harry into make Dumbledore's army, which is like that's one of the best things in the movie where Harry puts aside his angst and his struggle with himself about what has happened and teaches his friends to fight back. That's awesome. And like I love that
That's
because
The Dumbledore army scenes were probably one of the best scenes in the series. Like it truly was magical for me.
I love that scenes where I love those scenes where Harry just he makes a speech about every great wizard and witch
What
has
else
taught
is
us nothing
inspired?
else than what we are now, students. If they can do it, why not us? Because like that's
I
really
also,
what it's about, you know?
I also like how Neville is also, starting to develop more as a character at
Oh
this
yeah,
point.
yeah,
Like I
They
really like
did the they did leave out one of what I think is his most important scenes
oh
though, and
yes,
it
yes, yes.
almost
Say it.
really pissed me off that they left that out. The
The
hospital scene at Christmas.
oh yes, yes.
oh yeah,
That
Saint
is
McDougall's, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
that really let me down
I
because
was
it's
gonna
like
say
that
that.
was the perfect point to show the struggle that this poor kid had been through his entire life also.
Yes, I
I mean,
really
they did
agree.
substitute it with like I'm pretty sure in the room of requirement, like he, kind of like gives,
That's not as powerful as
on
the
it. I mean, it's not as
Mhm.
powerful. Yeah, I agree, but I do think it was like, I did feel a little bad for Neville there.
I mean, like the movie suffers from the classic show don't tell. Like show the hospital scene, show that Neville's parents have gone insane, instead of Neville just going exposition vomit and be like, "Oh yeah, my parents were killed by Bellatrix Lestrange," you
And
know?
we'll get to that when we hit Deathly Hallows Part 2, but that's where I'll always differ with J.K. Rowling's decisions for how to handle the end of Bellatrix.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Definitely. I do like I do like the end fight. The ending's amazing. Like where they
Yeah.
go.
Yes. The
That
entire Department of Mysteries was great.
that
Oh, I
they go
loved that.
stab
That
those
was
with it.
just awesome. It was basically like, hey, you guys excited for Deathly Hallows? Well, we'll give you a little taste for that. Like the
It's
big
not just that.
battle stuff.
It's not just that. It's showing that it's Dumbledore's army applying what they learned. What Harry has taught them. It's useful. It's like they trained for this, and now like that's what Neville said. Dumbledore's army is about doing something real, and they're doing that. They're doing real, and like they're not like they're not trained fully where they can actually defeat the Death Eaters, but they held them long enough for the Order of the Phoenix to arrive, right? I mean, that's awesome. I
I mean,
like.
like the part I like is like when like eventually things start to fall apart and Harry's like he has to make a decision. You could really see the intensity and fear in like some of the members of Dumbledore's army when they were basically like they were basically doomed until like
Serious
the
Black.
order comes. But I thought that was like I thought that was very relatable a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Because like they are still teenagers.
Yeah. I have to agree with that because like really they really are teenagers and they're afraid because I mean like they were trained but like the Death Eaters were just way better because they're way more
Just a little better.
yeah but that's the point like they were trained enough that they were able to hold off the Death Eaters until the Order of the Phoenix arrived.
Hmm
Like I like the like I know you guys have some like problems with how much Sirius was shown in here. I thought when Harry's reaction, like the way they handled it, was just so
Oh yeah,
sad.
definitely.
Like
Yeah.
when like apparently they like I don't know if this is entirely true or not. Like Santino can correct me on this, but
What are you saying? Like,
apparently when like Daniel Radcliffe like screamed, like it was so agonizing that they had to mute it.
yeah,
For
that's true. That's true that
that was just, like
they
that
have
was just so powerful. You could imagine like the anguish and like the sadness that he's feeling at that moment when his parental figure just dies in front of him.
yeah, I agree because that's true that they had to mute it that because it was just so painful. What's also true is the fact that when Daniel Radcliffe was screaming, Helena Bonham Carter and Emma Watson burst into tears because it was just so painful. I mean, yeah, that's what made Sirius Black's death in the Order of the Phoenix sort of work for me. His reaction, like Harry's reaction to seeing his godfather go and Lupin's just holding him back because he wants to jump in after and save him. That was just painful.
Yeah, and like then he just like really angry goes after Bellatrix, and I'm pretty sure he used
Crucial,
the
yeah,
Cruciate curse, right?
he did, yeah.
Like that's when you were realizing like, whoa, this is really tearing him apart.
My favorite scene comes after because that's when Dumbledore and Voldemort like battle it out.
Oh, that was just
That was
awesome.
so well done.
hmm
Like, I have no problems with that scene. But like, and as good as that scene was, and I love it forever. I love the scene. I love the scene more after that, where Voldemort possesses Harry, and he's
Oh,
just showing him all like the bad stuff he's done to him, like Sirius's death of his parents, Cedric's death, and he battles it out with love. Like he battles it out with his good memories. Ron, Hermione, Sirius Black hugging him, his
like
friends.
the music in that scene, it was just
So
I
good.
I got chills. There we go.
So yeah,
Yeah. Like yeah, so basically, we already know like the main theme is basically light versus darkness, like we all have it, and what matters is like, the choices we make.
what does he make? Yeah, and like
Yeah.
and it's
That was just powerful.
I love the fact that Harry's overcoming his demons, in this movie. Like he's really overcoming the stress of what happened with Cedric, and he's trying to, and he finds his clarity with teaching the kids, and that's one of the things I don't agree with the canon. Like I don't agree that Harry would have been a good R. I think he would have been a better professor. Like imagine that he goes back to Hogwarts to
Yeah,
teach.
I was thinking, is he gonna be a professor when this is all over? If
Yeah, exactly. Like
like
I don't agree that he should have been an Auror. Like Ron being Auror, yeah, I find that's fine. But Harry always was a teacher. He was good at teaching, so I think that's what he would have gone back to, in my opinion.
like he can understand like some of their frustrations and maybe even fears.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's why like Order of the Phoenix. Okay, so we haven't even talked about the infamous person Order of the Phoenix yet. Dolores Umbridge. Oh man.
Like they must have been hating themselves when they like basically wrote her scenes and all that because like they did a good job.
They
Like
did a good job, I swear to God. They really did. They
it,
really did. Like you love to hate this person. You really do. Like
yes,
I
I never wanted to punch the screen more than I did when Umbridge came in. Like everything was annoying. Like her giggling, her speaking in general, what she was wearing. Like even her freaking room was annoying for me.
your room was painted pink. I swear to God. I went like you painted an old I
I mean,
thought
fine with pink. She made it bad though.
like you just love to hate this girl and again massive respect to the actress who played Umbridge because like even she hates the character but she did her best to portray the role even though she didn't like it at all. Yeah.
The only problem was she wasn't as ugly as the picture of Umbridge in the book.
Oh yeah.
Lord, but I remember when I saw her the first time I read it, I was like, that is the ugliest woman I've ever seen.
I took a picture of that and put that on Instagram. I don't remember what I put, but it was probably nothing nice.
Yeah. I also kind of my gripe is that they didn't like they call her like they call her Toad Face way more and
She was she did. She looked like a hideous mutant frog in the book.
oh yeah just,
Like, they were able to make, like I said, she was always giggling and it got annoying, but they were also able to make her, really unsympathetic because, how cool she was, how strict, and also how she was basically a control freak. Like she was willing to use like, some of the illegal curses just to get some information from Harry.
oh,
And she
yeah.
would use like very cruel punishments on Harry. It was just like it was like I was just like, you and me need to talk because you're not allowed to hurt my boy Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's insane. And I forgot that I got one of the things that I don't that I'm upset they didn't put it in was the Weasley is my king. The where Ron becomes a keeper and he earns glory on the pitch. Because that's one of the things that I didn't like that wasn't in. They removed Quidditch in Order of the Phoenix.
I was fine with them cutting out Quidditch, like because I mean people do like, and even you guys like, as you guys said, like people do like to say like they should have included this, but I feel like with the stuff they cut out, I actually understand because like this book was just big,
Long, yeah, I know.
very long, so they had definitely had to make some big changes, like they had to make
That's
some
why
cuts.
that's why I don't
And
mind.
I thought the Quidditch, I was fine with them cutting that out because like we already have a bunch of reasons to hate Umbridge because
Yeah,
of
but
that.
I don't mind. I don't mind that they did that. I mean, like I don't mind they cut out as much as they did some. That's why like when people like, it's a gripe, but it's not like it's like I'm really upset about it. Like yeah, it's fine that you didn't put it in. It really is. It's okay. I did like how the Weasleys left Hogwarts, Fred and George. That was
Oh,
awesome.
that was just awesome. That was just great. Like I
This
don't
was
know,
the book where I
it
missed
made
Peeves
me
the
want to write
most.
some stuff.
Same.
Just disrespect authority. It was just awesome.
Yeah, I swear. Like when they left with the fireworks, that was so well done. Like
I was Flitwick when like they just left. He was just like, yeah. It was just
yeah,
great.
yeah. Flitwick is like yes, like yeah, like he's happy that they that Umbridge got like comeuppance, and
He's like,
I like the fact that the centers like just like got Umbridge and tied her up and just like left her, like they captured her, and yeah. So yeah,
yeah. I
so
mean, if there's like one thing I would say, I will say the effects just look just a little off than usual for Harry
Grop
Potter.
looked Grop looked awful compared to
Grab,
the dragon in 4.
Grab looked awful.
Yeah, like something was weird when like as soon as they entered the
They
forest
gave
and
him a
like,
baby
drop,
face for some weird reason.
Yeah, for some reason they did it, and the Thestrals were fine though. I like the Thestrals; they were okay.
Oh, the Thrustrals, yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah, I don't understand though why Grop looked like a big CGI man baby. So
Oh my
all overall, Order of the Phoenix, super underrated. I like the themes they put out. I like the final battle. I like Umbridge. It's a very underrated HP film. I think when I rewatched it, I liked it more than as a movie than Prisoner of Azkaban. I know that's some weird thing to say because like Prisoner of Azkaban's the god tier. I'll never understand why, but
Just
uh,
like I said last week, I'll never understand why.
but Order of the Phoenix is just like, in my opinion, it's just so good as a movie. Like I'm kind of upset, of course, that they cut out some stuff, but overall, I can love it for what it is. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Kevin, final thoughts on Order of the Phoenix?
Wait, what? Sorry.
Final thoughts on Order of the Phoenix?
My thoughts on Order of Phoenix. Gotta say, very underrated, very charming, and just it's. I think it truly showed why I loved Harry Potter. It was because the characters. It was just amazing. I thought we got to see a lot more of the characters. It was just amazing. Definitely one of the best in the series.
All right, Chad, final thoughts on Order of the Phoenix?
Same position I was in when we started. It's
Yeah, just
right
just
there in the middle.
right there.
There's a lot of it that's pretty good, but there's a lot of stuff in the beginning I just don't really care for, connect with, or even really remember. Like the beginning just doesn't hook me. All the stuff with Cho, I thought was pointless. I don't even know why they bothered.
Man, we forgot about Cho. Like we got forgot about Cho
There
entirely.
you go. Yeah, see? Because there's nothing to remember.
I mean,
She
I
was
was
basically
I was thinking of
pointless.
bringing up Cho, but I didn't think we really need to go in there.
We don't need to go in there.
I
Yeah.
will say I prefer the Harry Cho romance here than in the books.
Oh, it was awful in the books. Like I didn't like it at all. Like,
I didn't
seriously.
like it that much.
All right. So yeah. So now we're moving on to one of the most controversial HP films ever. Some people love it to an extreme. Some people hate it to death. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Let's go. This is gonna be a long one. So
Yes, this is.
Kevin, you go first. Your first thoughts, then Chad, then I'll go first. Then
Oh, why me
I'll go next.
first?
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'm probably gonna be in the defensive here a little bit, but I gotta say I really love not really really love, but I like the Half Blood Prince. I think it was able to do a good job in showing how grim and dark the wizarding world is at this point now, because the world has finally accepted Voldemort is back, and the results now are starting to become more grim, like how more people are dying and it's becoming more dangerous out there. Like the opening was able to sell that
Oh
immediately.
yeah. I love the opening. I do
With the
love
Yeah.
bridge.
the
Yeah, it
bridge,
was,
that thing.
and like I really like how they focus more on substance, at least for how I saw it, because there was less action scenes, and I was actually fine with that because I feel like this was kind of like a break, but since it's before the Deathly Hallows,
It's the
before
11th hour,
it
basically.
really happens. So I thought this was a perfect time to calm down a bit and then suddenly, then transition into the Deathly Hallows.
Half of
And
Half-Blood Prince really is the 11th hour. Like it's the it's the setup to the finale. Like, and in that respect, it does set up pretty well. Like yeah, I like the scenes with Harry and Dumbledore. I really do. Like
me
they
too.
form a bond. So like it's enough that when he gets killed, you really feel bad for him. I really like Jim Broadbent as Slughorn. That's like perfect casting. I don't imagine anyone else
Yeah.
could have done that role. I really do. Like
I almost imagined somebody more fat.
because
I don't know. The way they described him in the books, I just kind of pictured just like a big fat slob, basically.
yeah, because
That's
the pictures are like that. They
I mean, he
create
started out as a chair.
yeah.
I don't know. He almost came across as he almost didn't come across as douchey as the books made him out to be. Like the book, like he was never like as bad as somebody like Lockhart was, but it just seemed like in the book he always made himself out to be bigger and better than he actually was, aside from being as good as potions as he was. I don't know. I feel like they almost made him way nicer in the movie than he was in the book.
I'm mad that they left out one of the best comeback lines ever in the entire series. There's no need to call me Sir Professor. I was like, oh,
I mean,
oh
I will
God.
say,
When I read that, honestly, like sidetrack, when I read that in the book, I actually had to put it down and like think about that for 5 minutes because because
I was
really, man, that was one of the
done.
best. That was one of the best comebacks ever in the entire series, and it was not used at all in the movie. Like, imagine Daniel Radcliffe saying that, like, there's no need to call me Sir Professor. I think if that happened in the movie, everyone was freaked out, dude. Like, one of the best, and I'm so upset that that didn't happen.
Hey, they have the chosen one joke there. I thought that was funny. Like where
Yeah.
Carrie was like, "But I am the chosen one." I always find that funny. One of the funniest for me.
How about you, Chad? What are your thoughts? You haven't really, you've kept quiet really on the whole thing. Like, what
I'm letting you guys go.
no, there's three of us. Like how
I know, but I know my turn will eventually come around.
you think
So
of.
I really like this one.
I know you do.
It's my number 4. So bam, right in the middle, just above Order of the Phoenix. I think what I really like about this one, even though I hate that we have to keep comparing the books to the movies. The book did this far better. But I really enjoyed diving into Voldemort's past.
Yes, that's the
too.
main right.
And
I think
the funny thing is, lots of times when you dive into a villain's past, you humanize them and you sympathize with them. And it was the exact opposite here.
Yeah.
Knowing more of Voldemort's past, I still never sympathized with him because he was a rotten apple from day one. And he just got worse. And then even thinking back to the Tom Riddle memory from Chamber of Secrets showed that even by the time he was 16 or 17, when he created that memory, he was just an evil scumbag then too.
Yeah, it's like there's no redeeming factor in him at all.
Yeah, so I think they definitely did a good job by not ruining the villain, by making us sympathize with him, because any way we could have sympathized with him, it just completely got thrown out of the window every time you started to think about where he came from.
Was, you know?
Yeah,
like he was very pale, like in the.
Yeah, I mean, like I forget how old was he when he killed his father? It was right after graduation, right?
Yeah, so he's like 17.
Yeah, he went and killed him when he was still a teenager. It just shows how he's been evil from day one.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just like what my main gripe really is because this is the setup to the finale, right? I mean, like, I'm so upset that they didn't show a lot of Voldemort's past. Like, you have what? You have two memories of him.
I know, and I wanted to see the memory of his uncle and grandfather.
Exactly. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see the memory of him talking with Dumbledore when he goes back and like he wants the job for the Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Oh, why couldn't they have just included that scene? Because I wanted to see, because I remember in the book the way they described him was he went from like being a handsome, well upkept young man when he left the school, and then in that scene they said he just looked like a wreck.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want, like, he's not fully Voldemort yet, but he's not human anymore either. Like, he's somewhere in between. Yep. I love it. Like,
I wish, like
you can tell like Dumbledore, as the film, he started killing already, and you can tell that's the last ounce of any humanity Tom Riddle ever had when he has a conversation with Dumbledore. You know what I mean?
Here's what I'll say: like the film can feel a little slow at times. So I feel like if they had like put some of the like Voldemort's past in there, I feel like it could have greatly improved the pacing a little more.
Me too. Like, it just feels different, you know. I mean, like, I don't like the way they handled the
they handled Voldemort's past at all. I really, really don't. I really feel like they could have expounded way more on that than the because like that's the thing. J.K. Rowling wrote Half-Blood Prince as a balance. Like you have Voldemort's past as like the dark part, but then you have the romances and the love in the air as the lighter part. Like it balanced out. It's temperance. But the problem
Yeah,
here,
they were too busy focusing on the
the romance.
Ron Lavender BS, and they never even bothered building up to the Harry Ginny stuff.
Yeah, it's like they were
Oh my
so focused on that
gosh, I didn't even know why they bothered doing it. Still, there
because
was no build up to it
they
whatsoever.
ruined Ginny. Period. I mean,
Ginny
like,
was pointless. I don't even know why she was in the movies at all.
like she's a firebrand, right? Like she's like she's this girl who's so passionate and like is willing to fight. And like in this movie, like all she does is tie Harry's shoelaces. I mean, like it's so
Okay.
that makes no sense. And what I really don't like, I'm gonna go on a tangent. I said I was gonna mention it here. It's like how the narrative portrays Ron as a bad guy again. When at this point, it's not his fault. Like Lavender Brown takes an interest in him, and yeah, he likes that girl. So what? He just wants to hang out with her and make out with her because like he finally has found a girl who's into him. And Hermione's the one at fault here because she's
I thought Hermione was like the petty one in this case. I was like,
petty.
what are
Like,
you doing? You're like, as you said earlier, she literally had birds come after him.
yeah, because just because he had a girlfriend and that she would have been the one to be the girl to for Ron, she could have made it like super straight and said, "I want you as a date to Slughorn's party," but she never even did that. Like she mentions like I was gonna ask you, and then she never asks like directly, you know. It doesn't make any sense. Like yeah, so Ron took an interest in Lavender Brown, and so what? So get over it, you know. Grow up, man. Grow up, Hermione. Like you don't have.
Exactly. She went to the dance with Crumb.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
why.
yeah,
That's one thing I never understood about this. I'm like, no, you can't get mad at him for liking somebody else when you basically did it to him.
yeah, you did it to him. Like you literally did it to him to make Ron jealous, and now that Ron and Lavender are actually having a relationship, you're being jealous also. Like that's such a double standard. Like, come on, like grow up. Like I mean, like I don't support Ron's actions at all in Goblet of Fire. Like he was really being kind of a douchebag in that movie in the book. But at least Ron never set birds on Hermione. I mean, like,
Yeah, he
Oh,
just
no.
made her burst into
Birds.
tears at the end of the dance.
yeah, true. But like, man, those birds as described in the book, like they claw and peck at his hands and make him bleed. Like
Oh,
that's
shoot.
yeah, that's just like you're psycho, honestly. Like, that's a psycho moment right there. Honestly. I can't. That's not fair. And what's worse is like in the book, it's actually worse because the
Oh,
book
no.
the book is framed to like Ron discovers Ginny and Dean Thomas snogging, and Ginny just like insults Ron in front of Dean and Harry by saying like, "You're just jealous because Harry snogged so and Hermione snogged Crumb. So like you're the last one, so that's why you're jealous." And like Ron says, "Fine, I'm gonna find a girlfriend because no one's interested in me." Like basically, Ginny tells Ron that Hermione was never interested in you, so go
Dang.
find someone else. So when he finds someone else and Hermione sets birds on Ron, that's such a like, why did you do that? You know, like Ron's so confused. And
It's
I
because Ron is the Rudy of this franchise.
the what?
Here's what I'd like to say.
He
Like,
just always loses.
here's what I would like to
It's a
say. I'd like to say,
situation. I swear to God. Anyway, yeah. So Kevin, you were saying.
like, you just mentioned snogging, and I just realized how I hate when people use that word. It just sounds so weird when you use it. Like, imagine using that in a conversation, just like, "Hey, what were you doing?" "Oh, snogging the other day." There's just so
good old British slang.
I love that word. It's so very.
snogging is so weird. It sounds like a
It's a
word
better
you would try
term
to
to make out.
disgust someone with.
It's
Like you
it's
just
a
try to
better-
disgust. You
it's
just try to make them feel uncomfortable.
I swear, I actually love that term. I actually love snogging, but yeah, it's opinions. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't get the double
Like,
standard really.
Like here's what I'll say. For some reason, I felt like I could connect more with this really well with this movie for some reason because I feel like it was able to get like the high school aspect to it.
It did,
Like
sure.
because like I am still in high school even though we're quarantining right now. Like I was able to really connect with like how you're just like you could be awkward sometimes, especially in like in relationships and all that. Like that's what I like about the romance for some reason. Like
No,
I
I think
prefer
it's fine. I
like
mean,
I
like,
prefer books, but I think I just really relate to the romances for some reason because like how awkward it is, but it isn't like too much that I would hate it, but it's more like something I could understand and I could go through. You know?
yeah.
Mm.
I mean, like, yeah, it's relatable for sure, and I think the romance was fine in Half a Prince. It's just the fact that they overcooked it too much, and they didn't show Voldemort's past a lot. Like
I
they
mean,
showed.
And
they
they
should have had
ruined,
more Voldemort. That's
and,
how I think it could have been fixed for
and they
me.
made it entirely pointless for the Harry Ginny.
Yeah,
I don't understand what was the point.
that was so bad. I swear to God. Like they have like one romance scene, like "Don't you trust me?" and the
Yeah,
shoelaces.
that was it. It's
That
like,
was it.
what?
That was
No, what they did in the book was so much more powerful and it made
like,
so much more sense.
Chad, go off, go off, go off, go off.
It was stupid. I mean, geez, let's see. We go from her breaking up with her boyfriend to them celebrating winning the Quidditch Cup and they just start like making out in front of everyone and everyone's fine with it to here, let me help you hide this book. Oh, here, close your. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was so.
Oh, point badly done. It just
Yeah,
I there was no chemistry between those two either.
yeah.
Like none. Jenny just felt like a blank slate.
She was so like. I swear, if they remake Harry
Like what
Potter,
personality did her character? Okay, in the books, she had a personality. She was a little fireball. She was becoming an extremely powerful witch. She was getting very good at dueling from being taught in Dumbledore's army. And in the movies, she just who was she?
she
She
wasn't
was a
any.
nobody.
She was like shoelaces, which sucks in a way. Which sucks in a way because Bonnie Wright, I've watched her in other movies.
She can be good.
She can be good. It's just like I don't know why she's so underused in this one.
Yeah. I mean,
Ah,
if they weren't gonna, okay, if they knew that the Cho relationship wasn't going to go anywhere, they should have just omitted it entirely and built up some more scenes between Ginny and Harry in part 5 then.
yeah.
Because I mean, that was the point. It was like obviously the books can go longer and describe more stuff, but it's like if they knew that they were going to just do even the Cho Harry relationship that bad, just don't do it at all and build up Ginny some more because I just didn't like when we got to that scene, I'm just like I barely know who this character even is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just such a bad way of portraying her. Like, she really had a
And this
good,
is
strong
and also
personality.
this is the character that Harry winds up with and gets married to. And they didn't build her up at all.
So painful. I swear to God. It's just bad. It's just bad writing. Again.
Uh,
That's why.
let's jump forward to the third act.
Okay. We're getting ahead of ourselves because like.
Actually,
Okay,
actually, wait. Can we also like talk about Draco a bit, and then we could go to the third act? Because I feel like we haven't talked about him that much.
okay, yeah. Okay, let's
Because
talk
he
about
hasn't done anything since like the second movie up until this one. It
Well,
feels
yeah.
like
yeah, okay,
he's
yeah.
just been there to be the dick.
Yeah,
I
Draco
mean,
and
yeah,
Snape.
yeah, that is true.
Okay.
But like, he does do more in this film, like at this
Oh, he
point.
does more in this than 3, 4, and 5 combined.
Yeah, 'cause like he's just like
Okay, I get where he's coming from. Like the remorse, I do get it. Like I sympathize with him to a degree because yeah, you're being tasked to do an impossible task, and you can clearly tell he doesn't want to do this. Like he's making like
He's
haphazard
being
stuff.
tasked he's being tasked by the most evil person on the planet.
So
I
kill.
mean,
After
imagine the
after his
pressure
dad got
from-
thrown in prison.
Yeah, I like the symbolism. Like when when the bird dies, like the white bird, it looks like Dumbledore's body. You can kind of look like, that's how I saw it. Like, oh, it kind of looks like the body of Dumbledore because when he's trying out the vanishing cabinet, that's how it works. Like,
That's actually an interesting.
yeah, I know, right? It looks like Dumbledore's body.
I saw it more as like a living person didn't survive the transport, so I saw it more as he actually, this plan might fail of killing Dumbledore the Death Eaters. That's how I saw it.
He sent the bird, he sent the bird to Borgin and Burks, so the Death Eaters killed the bird and they sent it back. So it's possible to send living things, But
I saw it more as I saw it more as he probably didn't know that, but since a living creature didn't survive, maybe it is impossible to bring the Death Eaters. But that's how I saw it,
Yeah. Okay. And then that makes sense. That's a theory that works. But I saw it as when the bird dies and it's like on the floor of the cabinet, it kind of looks like Dumbledore's body, like it's the clothes he's wearing when he dies. So they're like, that's the symbolism of what's gonna happen, like the death of innocence, the death of Dumbledore. Like when Dumbledore dies, it basically is like the last straw of any defense they have. It's like that. And one of the changes I do like in the movie, I'll be positive for a bit, is that scene where Slughorn's talking about the fish. I really do like it when he's drunk out of his mind and he tells Harry Potter that he had this fish named Francis who was given to him by Lily, and the day that the fish died, it was the day that the Lily died, and Harry uses that as a stepping stone for him to get the actual memory. Like that was so well done. And I like Harry on Felix Felicis. He looks high.
Well, what's his face? Slughorn looked like he was like he looked like he was a train wreck too, but he was also drunk.
Yeah, he looks like he smoked like a huge bag of like weed and like he went out to look for Hagrid. Like Felix Felicis is basically drugs. It basically like lets your body go to where it feels most comfortable in. So yeah.
I mean,
hey, come on! Don't tell me wrong about this.
I'm laughing because it's probably true.
Yeah, it is. Felix Felicis makes you feel good and makes you feel lucky, quote unquote. I mean, like that's like one of the best parts of the movie where Harry just basically he stops being kind of miserable. He takes the Felix Felicis and he's basically high for like an hour, and then he does the sound effects of Aragog the yeah. And then I love it but that one sentence where Slughorn asks, so did Aragog have any family? And Harry's like, oh yeah that was it cracks me up every time. Like Harry on drugs or Harry on Felix Felicis is one of the best parts of Half-Blood Prince, I swear.
I like the part where he's just he's going to Hagrid's. He's like, all right, I'm going to Hagrid's. And they're like, no, you need to go to Slughorn. He's like, yeah, I know, but I feel like Hagrid's place is the place to be. You know what I mean? And then they're like, no. He's like, no. Well, and then he's like, well, I do, or Felix does. And then when he walks out, he walks by people. He's like, hi.
It's one of those. That's why Half-Blood Prince is like. It's,
you know what? The film was worth it just for that. Screw the negatives. I am loving it now.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the third act. The third act is insane. I love it.
I was say the third act is like basically like the only part people actually seem to remember about this movie.
The third act,
because it has one of the most defining moments of the entire series almost.
Yeah, Dumbledore getting killed is one of the.
If you ask someone what the Half-Blood Prince is, they're like, oh, the one where Dumbledore dies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's what we remember. But I like the stuff before it. I like the cave design. The set design of the cave is insane.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
The only thing I hate about the ending, and this is my own fault, is I read the book before I saw the movie, and while it was very powerful in the book, when it happened, I still wish I'd been able to have that genuine feeling of, I can't believe I just saw that in a movie.
Which one, the Inferi or the Firestorm?
No, when Snape betrayed him
Kills
and killed
Dumbledore.
him.
Right? Yeah.
I wish I had that as well. I had it spoiled by a film podcast, so that sucks for
You,
me.
you know my story, right? Some
Oh yeah, we know at this point.
got barged in and said Dumbledore gets killed by Snape, and we just tackled him to the ground because that guy was just mean. But yeah, but okay, I have my issues with. Okay, I'm gonna have my issues with Dumbledore's death, but it's an issue that it's just a personal thing with me. Has nothing to do with the construction of how it was done. I mean, it's done great. I mean, like the way Snape just like has no remorse when he shoots the killing curse. And what's mad about it is like the book, in my opinion, was just sort of better. Because in the book, Dumbledore traps Harry under the invisibility cloak. Like he
With the
freezes
full
him.
mind body curse.
Yeah, the body bankers, like he freezes him to the wall, and the cloak is on him. So like Harry can't do jack shit. Like, so that's how you feel. You feel like you're Harry. You feel like you're trapped. You can't do anything, right? So like
Mhm.
when Snape kills Dumbledore, it's such an absolute thing. Like, oh my God, Snape's a dick. Like screw this guy. But like in the
Well, it
movie,
was like what I thought when I was even reading it, and we'll just compare it to the movie. It was just like, no, he did betray him. It's like Dumbledore thought after all these years he could trust him, and he didn't. Obviously, we'll get to that next week.
yeah,
But it was like, wow, Dumbledore was wrong this entire time because whoever could have seen what was actually going to come in the next two movies.
yeah. But that's the thing. Like for the movie, it's so different because in the movie, Harry's below. Snape points the wand. He does the finger such motion, and then kills Dumbledore. So like you have that suspicion, like, oh, well, I think Snape's good because why didn't he capture Harry? Like so that's the thing. Like I don't
Mhm.
understand why
I
he.
mean,
Why,
like what
Well,
I
because
liked.
Voldemort also said Harry belongs to him. He said nobody can kill Harry except him.
that's true. That's true. So
Like
maybe that's why they did that. I don't know.
here's what I think. I do like how they did in the book, but like in the film, I liked it how Harry was basically ordered by Dumbledore. He did promise that he would follow Dumbledore's command no matter what.
Yeah.
So like when he was like, hey, like do like no matter what happens, do what I say, like. So you were just standing, basically watching him, and you were thinking maybe things will go all right. Maybe we could trust Dumbledore,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so that's what makes it so powerful, like, because Harry, he feels kind of responsible because he kind of let this happen,
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
he
The
he
thing
could
is,
have he could have stopped it.
yeah, but the thing is, he had to follow Dumbledore's rule orders to the letter. I mean, like, and like when he says that Snape is the guy he should trust, and when Snape kills him, you feel that like, oh my God, I can't believe the Snape betrayed Dumbledore. But that's the thing. Like in the book, it's more absolute. In the movie, you have their suspicions, but I like it better how he was killed in the book because Harry can't do anything, and you feel trapped like him. Like you're the reader, and you're like, I feel like I can't do jack shit to help Dumbledore right now. So
I would also like to.
that's my gripe, but it's fine. I will say this though. I agree with Kevin and Chad. I recommend you search up the scene. The in Noctem, I feel like that should have not been cut out. Seriously, like the in
I
Noctem scene, like,
watched it
when
when it was on Freeform. Like they included some deleted scenes, and that was in there, and it was just really good. But when I got the DVDs, it was not in there, so that was like a big disappointment for me.
yeah, I mean, like, in Noctem was something like really powerful, like 1 minute 30 seconds that should have been in there. That wasn't.
Like
And
it really showed how like the third act is going to change the rest. Like it's going to
yeah,
truly change the rest.
the
It's
11th hour.
how the choices will truly like redefine like what will happen.
Yep. So yep, and it's a shame that it wasn't cut. I mean, it was a shame it was cut. But okay, and I'm gonna say this once because if I say this again, people will my friends who are like book purists will be like, "How dare you say that?" But I really, to be honest, I prefer how Dumbledore's death, the aftermath of his death, was handled in the movie more than the book. I really feel like that's the case. I mean, like, yeah,
Oh,
I like the funeral. I do like the funeral, but I feel like that. scene where everyone's holding up their wands just becomes it's
Oh,
so
that was powerful.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
powerful, way
The
more than
score.
the funeral. I feel like that's just better, you know. It was just like
It was that sign of respect.
yeah, it works, you know, like the way Harry's on the ground, you know, he's crying his ass off, and everyone's like raising their wands, like everyone, like Hagrid, McGonagall, Slughorn, Hermione, Ron, Luna, Ginny, Dean, Seamus, everyone's doing it, and it's a respect for this guy. Like that
Well,
was just
and also don't forget, this is the last time we saw all these characters alive together.
yeah, before
Oh,
because that
like
like that this is the last time we're gonna see Hogwarts until the finale, like the end of Deathly Hallows. So
Mhm.
yeah,
this is like the goodbye, you know, like oh
Well,
damn.
and even at the end of the movie and book, that's when Harry's "I'm not coming back."
Yeah,
So it
exactly.
was like this could be obviously not when reading the book or seeing the movie for the first time, him saying "I'm not coming back." It makes you wonder, like, is this our goodbye to the school? Are we ever going to see it again?
like I think I really love the when like they raise their wands for Dumbledore. Like the score was just impactful. Like I was in tears when I saw it again. Like I may have seen the film many times, but it still makes me cry like every time.
It's just
And
so good. So yeah, I so and my last gripe is at the end. It's Hermione only talking to Harry. It's supposed
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
to
like I may be defending like some of these points here, but like I will say I do not like it how they did that. I kind of wish like how hard could it have been to just have Ron buy Harry as well? Like
yeah.
right.
Like I like the last shot. I like when it's the three of them looking out onto the horizon and Fox leaves Hogwarts. And like the last hope is gone and it's up to them. It's like yeah, it's good shot. But I don't like the scene before when it's just Hermione because
Yeah,
Ron's also important, you know. So like yeah.
yeah,
So
that
so
was
in conclusion, overall, Half Prince has more good and bad. I just wish they set up Voldemort way more and not focus on the teen romance as much. They should have set up Harry and Ginny way more, made it more believable. Ron should have had his moments of not having this. Ron should have been less um, double standard. The relationship it should have been like Hermione should have been portrayed more of a petty girl and show that she has flaws instead of the narrative showing that oh pity Hermione because Ron doesn't love her. Like I don't like that. So overall the last act saves this movie for me. It really does. The way Dumbledore's death was executed and the way the scene after and the firestorm with the dead, the inferi, I just feel like it's that it makes the movie. So overall, yeah, Happy Prince, those are my thoughts. Kevin, you?
um I will say that Half-Blood Prince I think it is one of the weakest Harry Potter films in the series. Like for me, it is the second least best in the series. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have its moments, because like it really does. Like the third act, like you said, was just pretty good. But I think it was, the other like the first two acts, they had some noticeable issues. Like the pacing was a bit off because like they focused on the romance, and while I did find it to be pretty relatable to me, I will admit like Ginny was kind of like there. They could have handled some stuff better. And like the Burrow action scene was just shouldn't have been in
Yeah.
there, because like it actually detracts from the when the Death Eaters attack the Burrow in the next film. So I felt like they shouldn't have done that. But I will say the score is just pretty good. It was just like you said, it is very underrated. Like the score is
Yeah.
just phenomenal. And I gotta say, like it was pretty sad and gloomy. And I think for because we're leading up to the Deathly Hallows, it makes sense. So while it is one of the weakest entries, I do think it is still pretty powerful in many areas.
Yep, I agree. So yeah, Chad, you.
I'd just say, yeah, it sticks where it is for me for my ratings. I mean, it was a good countdown to destruction, basically. It was a very rocky year for all three of them. Um, plenty of ups and downs. I mean, Harry finally got the girl he kind of realized he really wanted, and they were happy, and then it all got torn apart due to Dumbledore's death and his decision for what needed to happen going forward. Everything between Hermione and Ron was just a mess, and they had to put everything aside after what happened. It was just a very dark, dreary year for year 6, and then like that, for it to end the way it did, it was just like, is this the last time we're gonna see the school? Where are we going next? So, nope, I liked it, but I also have a tendency to like films that are on the more dark side, because
Yeah,
I think there's way too many films out there that they don't always need to end happy. That's not how life goes, and I know that's not how entertainment always needs to be. Sometimes things just are not good, and the story of Half-Blood Prince, and just in retrospective, remember reading it, it was not a happy remember.
It was a dark. How was
Yeah.
the darkest out of all of them? It was just like it was just so.
I think Deathly Hallows would take that trophy for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it ended on too happy of a note.
I mean, yeah, but there was a lot of stuff in there,
And
that still leave me scar for life.
I don't know. Upon reading the Sectum Sempra the first time, I was like, that's messed up.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
That was like, I will admit, that was just
I thought he killed him the first
me
time I
too.
read.
same. Ah,
The score in there was also good.
oh yeah, the score is also so
Like it
good.
was like kind of screeching a bit. You could almost feel the pain almost,
Oh yeah, definitely. It was just so well done. Like,
especially the regret in like Harry. Like it was just, yeah.
oh yeah, and how the Prince has my favorite cinematography other than Prisoner of Azkaban. Really, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
there
yeah,
we go.
we're done. We're done. So next week we are in the final two Harry Potter movies, and
All ends.
it all ends there. So I have my personal opinions about one of them, and we'll get to that. So,
Oh,
but
don't worry, I'll be there for
yeah,
that.
don't worry, Kevin, you'll be there to help me contest that. But that's what that's what.
I'll help defend the one's honor.
So thank you guys for watching. I'm Santino. I'm checking out. Kevin. Oh, wait, I forgot. Don't forget to check out Kevin's channel, the KFC. Link is down below. So hopefully you check out his channel. He has a lot of great stuff on there. So yeah, Chad, any last remarks?
Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah. Have a good one, guys. Good night.
Have a good day.
Yeah.